Hello and welcome to Dr. Kirby's Pick 2021. And we're going to start the year off right with helping you empower yourself, taking hold of your health. Remember, it's not what you do one day, it's what you do every day. And it's hard to prevent being sick because, as we've seen, immunostimulation is actually a great way to get the body cleaned out, keep the immune system being active so that, if something does happen, the body knows how to respond. What we want to do is be proactive. It is important, and what is great about naturopathic medicine is that it puts the ball back in the patient's care. Things they should be doing, personal responsibility, and just doing the best you can. We'll go over these things, and I'll tell you some things that have been a challenge for me. So, most of the things that people think are proactive in their health are top three. Ready? Flu shots, statin drugs, and an aspirin. But does that really give you personal responsibility? No. It actually gives something you're doing personal responsibility, a drug, a higher form of medicine. What we need to do is focus more on what we can do. People often ask me, what should I do before I come to see you? And it is follow the natural laws. Today we're going to talk about these natural laws. It is the violation of these natural laws that can really affect your health. Because remember, if you're violating all these, and what I mean by violating is, it is not doing these natural things, natural laws, how the body was actually made to work, that can really affect your body in a negative way. Now, if you go out and eat a pizza, as long as you don't have a dairy or wheat intolerance on a Friday and only do it once a month, I don't see that as a problem. But if you're doing things that continually make your health degrade and are not doing anything to stimulate the body, then that may be a problem. So we want to be positive, we want to empower. It is Dr. Henry Lindlar, which we've talked about before, one of our fathers of naturopathic medicine, that says, and I quote, "Continuous violation of nature's laws such as excess eating, too much alcohol, coffee, tea, overwork, not work, poor air quality, lack of exercise, and loveless marriages that are viewed as the primary causes of continued health degradation." Henry Lindlar, MD, he was a medical doctor. He recognized that it is actually the things that we do and or put ourselves through, aka stresses, that can really actually affect the nervous system, the whole body, right? So, what are these magic things that we're going to talk about? Well, it's not really magic. Run, if you'll please insert picture here. What you see here is that through our choices, we can either go up or down in our health. In honor of 2021, let's go over these. Number one, always talking to you about diet. Now, there are different diets depending on different health issues. Autoimmunity, diabetes, high blood pressure. All of these things need to be addressed by diet. How do you know what diet to do? Well, you need to check that out with your natural health care provider. And remember, if you don't have a natural health care provider, we would love to have you. So give us a call or visit us online at www.wildflowerwellnessllc.com. Remember, with any diet, it can take up to 6 weeks to see any changes, because if you're eating foods that can cause immune system problems, it can take up to 6 weeks to see that kind of fade away. So whenever I ask somebody to leave something out, there is a reason I say, you might want to leave this out for 6 to 8 weeks before you try to, introduce it again. At that point, if you introduce it, then, that is definitely your issue. Now, don't do that on your own, especially depending on what problem you have, because that can cause some problems. Make sure that you are using getting advice from a natural health care provider that can really help you explain and understand why you're doing that and give you some great advice. 2, water. We just talked about hydration on Dr. Kirby's pick a few months ago. And remember, even the brain is 79% water, heart is 73% water, lungs are 83%, skin is 64%, muscles is 79%, kidneys are 79%, and your bones are 31%. So there's practically nothing that can function correctly without water. It does so many things. Flushes waste, regulates temperature, forms saliva, helps keep mucosal membranes lubricated. Remember, mucosa is not just in the lungs, but it's everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. Everything has a mucosa. So, number 3, movement. It is so important to move. Even if it's Friday morning, I've worked 60 hours that week, and I feel like, oh my goodness, I'm so tired. I usually get up, if I don't do a little cardio, if I'm just tired, I do a little yoga. Why is that? Because what it does is it moves that lymphatics. It moves the circulation. What happens in a stagnant pond? Junk grows. Things die. There's not enough oxygen. It doesn't circulate. You find a lot different animal and plant community in stagnant water than you do moving water, which is usually much more oxygenated. So you want to get all those nutrients throughout the body. Movement has been shown in studies to help with hormonal, gut, and immune health. So that's good. Now remember, everyone's movement is not the same. If you're 84 years old, you may do some different exercises than if you're 24. But make sure that, I'm going to say this after every one, make sure that you consult with your natural health care provider. This is no substitute for medical advice. It's just something that you need to be thinking about that may help encourage you to change directions, that may trigger a hot button that's going to help you with your health. Okay, breathing. How many of us get into a situation or even just go throughout the day and we're not even thinking about breathing? As you go throughout the day, and in fact, it's really important to take time out to meditate, to calm that nervous system down, to begin that breath. If you can only do 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. I've had some people, they come in, they can hardly sit still for 5 minutes, so I'm not going to tell them to do 15, 30 minutes, an hour of meditation. Start with 5. I remember in 2006, y'all, I was a mess. This is before I started this journey in naturopathic medicine. And it was a tough time. And I really thought to myself, I remember I was over the microwave and I was cutting up, I was using a microwave, oh my goodness. And I used the microwave to cook a potato. I don't even have a microwave in my house now. Not that there's anything wrong if you do. But I remember I could hardly even calm down enough to cut a potato after I cooked it in the microwave. So I do understand this, and I'm so calm. I could probably sit all day and not do anything, but I don't do that. I'm just saying that was 2006. It's 2020. It took about 2 years to get over that crazy time and that traumatic, both physically, mentally, and emotionally experience that I had in 2006. So I do understand where you're coming from. But it's important that at first I tried to do 5 minutes. Then at some point I did 15. Then I introduced the yoga with the movement, and it got even better. And of course there's ups and downs. But as it goes, as long as you're receiving the care that you need to get your systems balanced, you should see some improvement in that. Number 5. Play outside 30 minutes a day. You get vitamin D, you get brain activation. Sunlight helps even with sleep. What? yes, if you get sunlight during the day, it hits different receptors and actually triggers different glands to start and stop and things like that. But remember what we talked about with diet. It can take up to 6 weeks to see a minute change. So remember, my mom, Betty Thompson, always says, naturopathic medicine is effort, but aren't I worth it? Yes, you are worth it. Sleep. It is important to get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep a day. Insomnia is one of the most common reasons people go to the doctor. If you're not sleeping, there's probably a lot of reasons for that. Hormonal, blood sugar, trauma, emotions, anxiety, stress. Make sure that you're addressing all those underlying root issues, which again, as you saw when we were talking about breathing from my traumatic event that happened in me, it's important that you understand it does take time. And time, hey, everybody's got it. Rest. That is the number one thing that I see people have problems with. Because people honestly want to do stuff. They want to better themselves, clean their houses, enjoy other people, get things done, start a new business. That's awesome. But if we don't rest over time, and remember, rest is not sleep. So if you feel you're overworked and overburdened and can't do that, remember that rest. If you rest, it makes you want to breathe more. If you breathe better, it's going to move your lymphatics and cardiovascular system, and it can actually help reset your nervous system. So very important to calm that down. Rest. If you can only stand an hour, do an hour. You know, if you can only stand sleeping in 2 hours, do it. Get some rest. Start small, get big. Play. It is very important. I remember I have been, starting a new clinic, trying to make sure everything goes right, working nonstop, etc., 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 and not gotten any playtime. And I start to get angry. But then all of a sudden, I decide to go and do something fun, and it is the best thing I've done. So don't avoid play, not just by yourself, but with others. Can Dr. Kirby come out to play? Yes. But remember, life is a balance. So don't spend all your time playing. Just remember, whatever you can give is good. And just go with what is inside of you that's, to keep moving forward. And always seek the advice of your natural health care provider. Okay, other things that we often talk about that are very important are hydrotherapy. Hydro-ready water therapy. In talking about that, there are so many forms of hydrotherapy. Saunas, steam baths. One of my favorites that I talk about is constitutional hydrotherapy, which we do provide in office. You can also do that at home, and it is one of the best ways to stimulate number 2 on our therapeutic order, the vis medicatrix, and it is absolutely fabulous. If you're a patient and would like a handout on that, just let me know at your next office visit. Hydrotherapy. The easiest thing for you to do at home are contrast showers, hot and cold. 1 minute hot, 30 seconds cold. Remember, this is just information. If you think this is something you need to do, you need to check this out with your natural health care provider. And always call if you don't have one. We just love our patients. So, number 3 actually, is dry skin brushing. And there's a lot of information about this on the internet. We do have handouts for our patients in the clinic. Dry skin brushing moves lymphatics, which in turn can help with circulation, detox, edema, right? So swelling, a lot of people say, I'm swelling. Well, hey, that's a great therapy. And of course, castor oil packs. I have learned enough to know, and I tell a lot of people, if it hurts, put castor oil on it. Apple cider vinegar, great for digestion, great for liver detox. Seed cycling. Hormonal regulation is very important, and I actually have been introducing this seed cycling a lot lately. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but it's been coming up and it's easy. Especially if you tend to have fluctuations in your cycle. And men and women, remember, we all have cycles. Men's cycles are a little bit different than women's, of course. But we all need to address our hormonal health, and that's a simple and easy way to do that. Fish oil, probiotics, minerals, and vitamins are all in Chinese medicine higher forms of therapy. And in Chinese medicine, the Chinese say you can do these all the time because it's the best form. The vitamins, the minerals. Once you start getting into herbs, and of course herbs that kill stuff, microbes, they actually say that you've let your body get so down that you have to have herbs to clear stuff out and bring it back up. Now, those of you that know me know that I love some herbs. So, hey, I use a lot of superior herbs, but when things happen, we use a little intermediate and lower herbs. But remember, even herbals, too many long-term, can, stimulate your body to go in a direction just like a prescription. So we need to make sure that we're rotating those. So if you haven't had an appointment in a while and it's time to rotate your supplements, herbals, things like that, don't forget to give us a call and get in to do that. That's very important. So make sure to keep it positive when working on these. This is huge. I see patients come in and they think, well, I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, and I didn't do that. Well, let's think about what you did, And if you leave the office, you kept it together for 3 weeks, and the 4th week you were, oh my goodness. At least you kept it together for 3 weeks. Come back in, get you restarted. Because we're not just here to tell you to take this, take that, take that. What we're here is for support. And remember, your body's not just what you take or what happens to you. It's what you do for yourself. And so we're here for that. And we appreciate you all for knowing that. Another big thing is health is over time. It is a misconception that when you go into an office to get a shot, a pill, a drink, a treatment, that it will all be better. And it will be better in a week, a month. The problems that have been occurring, some of these have been since 2 years old. So it is unreasonable to think this is going to be over with in 2 minutes. So make sure that you allow yourself time to work back through. And instead of seeing, oh my goodness, I am not totally cured in 4 weeks, notice the little differences. Just like with diet and hydrotherapy and rest and sleep, notice the little differences. Remember, you need to be encouraging yourself. Dr. Dick Tom said the other day in the meeting that he's done research and he's found that 87% of all self-talk is negative. Right? So I start thinking and I start listening to myself. Negative Nancy over here. So, and lots of our patients find me very encouraging. So I need to do that with myself. Remember that you do that with yourselves, right? Because you were created by God in His image, and you need to give yourself a break. Do your best and keep working to get better. Remember, 30, 60, and 100-fold. Do your best. Okay, excellent. So I appreciate you. Now remember, this is not to be taken as your medical advice, right? Make sure that if you check with your natural health care provider before doing anything. And if you don't have a natural health care provider, please give us a call or visit us online at www.wildflowers.com.